I don't know why no one's done a report into this leaked PDF anyway, but I think I'll do one. I think I'll do one now. Jeremy Corbyn's just been suspended by the Labour Party under accusations of anti-Semitism, or that he was allowed. You have to understand, this is in the middle of rapidly racist Labour Party. This is hardcore racism against black people is going down in education, in the judicial system. There's a cull of black people of their jobs right now, and it's at the high point of that, at the peak of that, is this anti-Semitism bullshit, absolute bullshit. And just to prove how much bullshit it is, yeah, I've got the leaked report. Yeah, I've got the Rita Chakrabarti, as one of the Chakrabarti sisters anyway. I've got her report, anti-Semitism investigation, and it doesn't pick up anti-Semites. No. It picks up racists, picks up anti-black, anti-people of colour racists. It doesn't pick up anti-Semitism, apart from the general thing that we'll all agree on in terms of Israeli oppression of the Palestinians, and if you talk about Jewish people being disproportionately involved in any area, that's racism. You know who's in power by who you're not allowed to criticise. So in the midst of the racism against black people, a false storm in a teacup on anti-Semitism has been whipped up and is now all over the place because Keir Starmer's lackeys, Keir Starmer's racist minions, are going to work destroying Jeremy Corbyn. Why? Isn't that funny? Every time they focus on Corbyn, don't you think you should be looking at where the fat man is? Where's the fat man? Where's Boris? Yeah, didn't Boris just say that we're about to have a no-deal Europe? After all of the bullshit, but we're focusing on Jeremy Corbyn. Labour's finished. Labour's finished. Someone who's black and in the Labour Party needs to get back to me on the chat or something and let me know why I should vote for Labour. Because isn't it weird? We're seeing exactly the same thing with Labour as what's going on in with the Democrats in America. Only I think they're a little bit more forward ahead. The penny's only just starting to drop here in the UK. That party on the left don't give a fuck about you. And actually, there are now people at the high echelons of that left-wing party who are racist as fuck. They're elitist as all anything, but they're in the Labour Party. The Labour Party is run by Sir Keir Starmer. It's a Sir. A Labour. I mean, I don't know. It just seems a little bit of an oxymoron, a dichotomy, that the leader of the working man's party is going to be a man with a knighthood anyway. Sorry, I'm not sure if he's a peerage lord, but he's certainly Sir Knighted, Sir Keir Starmer, right, for his work. Jimmy Savile evade prosecution. I mean, it doesn't surprise me. They've had it out for Corbyn. In fact, you know what? The next video's got to be the Labour report into anti-Semitism. I don't know why no one's done a report into this leaked PDF anyway, but I think I'll do one. I think I'll do one now. Oh, luckily for me, I'd already gone out of my way to do a little bit of research into it already. I already read it through once and I'd made notes. Yes, I'd made notes. Yes, so the work of the Labour Party's governance and legal unit in relation to anti-Semitism, 2014 to 2019. Yes, that one. Right, not only abusive and inappropriate language going down, but a little bit of bullying, internal witch hunting going on. Quite a bit of that going on, actually, and all curiously racist. But not only racist, very classist as well. Very elitist. A very elitist form of cliquism going on. But anyway, I was meant to get to page 29. So let's go to 29. The work of the GLU and the relationship between Lotto and the GSO GLU in 2015 to 2018 cannot be understood without understanding the role of Labour Party factionalism. As the party's investigation progressed, this became increasingly apparent and unavoidable. Right? It's unavoidable. The factionalism in Labour was unavoidable. Claims have been made about these relationships that are critical to understanding how the party addressed complaints of anti-Semitism in 2015 to 2018. Strategically, in order to ruin careers. Got to read between the lines. Most notably, the assertion that GLU was forced by Lotto to follow unwritten guidance which prevented action on anti-Semitism and which required investigation. This report is not concerned with the rights and wrongs of different political positions espoused by different factions and individuals by the Labour Party in the preceding 5 years. However, an understanding of the role of Labour's staff in this period is critical to any examination of how the disciplinary process functioned and to assessing allegations about the role of Lotto in those processes. Labour Party staff who are employed by the party rather than as political advisors to politicians are expected to act impartially and serve the party regardless of the current leader, much as the civil service is expected to serve the government under whichever political party is in power. However, this section shows that much of the Labour Party's machinery from 2015 to 2018 was openly opposed to Jeremy Corbyn and worked to directly undermine the elected leadership of the party. We've been saying this for ages. The priority of staff in this period appears to have been furthering the aims of a narrow faction aligned to Labour's right, Keir Starmer, rather than fulfilling the organisation's objective from winning elections to building a functioning complaints and disciplinary process. So what they're saying is the factionalism was so bad that even if there were complaints about anti-Semitism, things were so disjointed that a thorough investigation is not going to go through from one end to the other without someone trying to use it to try and ruin Jeremy Corbyn especially. Labour Party staff based at Labour HQ were not obeying secret directives from Lotto. On the contrary, all the available evidence points to the opposite conclusion, that Labour Party staff based at Labour HQ, including GLU, worked to achieve opposing political ends to the leadership of the party. I'll read that again. They worked to achieve opposing political ends to the leadership of the party. All of that stuff that was going down. Remember, oh, Jeremy Corbyn, and after that it went right down, because all of these guys are really jealous. These are the champagne socialists, these are the Tory plants, these are the Tory sleepers in Labour, these are the racists in Labour, these are the ones that sabotaged the Jeremy Corbyn bid. These are the ones that ensured that Boris Johnson got to power. These were the ones that would rather Boris Johnson got to power than see Jeremy Corbyn be the Prime Minister, and they were in Labour. So, conclusion, that Labour Party staff based at Labour HQ, including GLU, worked to achieve opposing political ends to the leadership of the party. This included work to remove supporters of the incumbent leader during the 2016 leadership election and to work to hinder the leader's campaign in the 2017 general election. Let me read that again. This included work to remove supporters of the incumbent leader during the 2016 leadership election and work to hinder the leader's campaign in the 2017 general election. That means getting rid of Jeremy's mates, getting rid of Jeremy's supporters in position, and then ultimately scuppering or sabotaging Jeremy's leadership campaign. The attitude in HQ towards Lotto could be summed up in one comment from a senior staff member who said, "Death by fire is too kind for Lotto." This is inside Labour. Labour officials, including senior staff, expressed hostility towards Jeremy Corbyn and his staff towards Labour MPs, including Andy Berman, Ed Miliband, Sadiq Khan, Emily Thornberry, Diane Abbott and Dawn Butler. Staff described most of the PLP as trots, or called them totally useless in 2015 for not having yet launched a coup against Corbyn. Right, and let's go to a side note. Against Corbyn, as one staff member commented, everyone here considers anyone left of Gordon Brown to be a trot. So this is this whole trots thing. These are the elitists in Labour. These are the conservatives, the champagne socialists. They're not even socialists. The conservatives in Labour, who are basically getting by, masquerading as left-wingers occasionally. They'll probably have a Bob Marley poster up somewhere. But these are rabid racist conservatives. Right? Staff repeatedly used abusive and inappropriate language about the leader, MPs, Labour members and about other staff. For example, staff discussed hanging and burning Jeremy Corbyn, calling Corbyn a lying little toe rag and saying that any Labour MP who nominates Corbyn to widen the debate deserves to be taken out and shot. Stated that a staff member who whooped during Corbyn's speech should be shot. Senior staff also said they hope that one Labour member on the left of the party dies in a fire. This is in Labour. Do you know whose minions these are? This is all Keir Starmer's people. It's all Keir Starmer's people. Senior Labour staff used language that was considerably more abusive and inappropriate than that cited as justification for suspending many Labour members who supported Jeremy Corbyn in 2016. I'll read that again. Senior Labour staff, yeah, the Champagne Socialists, the Tories, the Keir Starmer supporters, right, they employed language that was considerably more abusive and inappropriate than cited as justification for suspending many Labour members who supported Jeremy Corbyn in 2016. So we're talking about the Labour members who supported Jeremy Corbyn, those ones who were suspended for anti-Semitic comments. The people that were suspending them were using far more abusive and inappropriate language. Quick question. I was editing this up and I just got to this point. I thought, question. If the people accusing you of anti-Semitism are employing language far more offensive and abusive than that of which they accuse you, what type of language are they using? It's cleverly written, this document. Cleverly written. Very interesting. Very interesting, this report into the anti-Semitism into Labour. I mean, it's right here. In August 2015, senior staff explored delaying or cancelling the ongoing leadership election when it looked like Jeremy Corbyn was going to win. When Corbyn was elected, staff discussed plans for a coup. One staffer said, "We need a poll that says we're like 20 points behind." Another suggested a silver lining for Remain losing the 2016 European referendum would be that Corbyn could be held responsible, and that another hoped that poor performance in the May 2016 local elections would be a catalyst for a coup. They were trying to get Corbyn out from the very beginning. Staff described working to rule when Corbyn was elected and coming into the office and doing nothing for a few months. During the 2017 general election, staff joked about hardly working, which means they were doing fuck all. Staff described working to rule, let's do all the work to get Labour into power. All of that, right? When Corbyn was elected and coming into the office and doing nothing for a few months. So the people responsible for the machine to promote Jeremy Corbyn and get the word out there, increase the Labour presence in the heartlands on the hustings, were doing nothing for months. During the 2017 general election, staff joked about hardly working and created a chat so they could pretend to work while actually speaking to each other. Tapping away will make us look very busy. Senior staff coordinated, refusing to share basic information to Lotto during the election, such as candidates' contact details, Labour. So you're running around trying to conduct a presidential campaign, sorry, not a presidential campaign, a prime ministerial campaign, and your own senior staff members aren't helping you contact other members of the Labour Party. Labour HQ operated a secret key seats team based in Labour's London region office in Ergon House, from where a parallel general election campaign was run to support MPs associated with the right wing of the party. The description of the workload and budget involved in this secret operations contrasts with the go-slow approach described by other staff regarding work on the official general election campaign, which the leadership was running to return a Labour government. So all the time they should have been helping Labour return to power, they were doing nothing. But when it came to them running their own little general election to see who was going to be their top guy for a coup, they worked like mad. This is the Labour Party. One senior staff member implied that he would support the Conservatives over Labour under Jeremy Corbyn's leadership, saying, "Who votes for JC?" This is in Labour. I mean, I know, come on, man. I'm not voting for this. This is done now. Labour's a wrap. Labour's done. Labour's been infiltrated, thoroughly infiltrated. At the top, senior Labour staff, Labour HQ, is rotten. One senior staff member implied that he would support the Conservatives over Labour under Jeremy Corbyn's leadership, saying, "Who votes for JC? If it's a choice between him and Theresa May, how do we vote for him?" Staff sent messages expressing their wish that Labour would perform badly in the 2017 general election, saying, "With a bit of luck, this speech will show a clear polling decline, and I cannot wait to see Andrew Neil rip Jeremy Corbyn into pieces over it tonight," senior staff commented. The huge rallies for Corbyn late in the election made them feel ill, and they reacted to the polls narrowing with dismay rather than optimism. Like, Labour's finished. You can't. That's thoroughly, as a party, Labour's done. You can't do anything about that now. You can't do anything about that now. A clean sweep. You need a new political party. That's infiltrate. That's rotten to the core. On election night, on the 8th of June 2017, when the exit poll predicted a hung parliament. Wow. When the exit poll predicted a hung parliament, so Labour's like 50-50. We're nearly there. General Secretary Ian McNicol, Executive Director for Governance, Membership and Party Services Emily Oldknow, who was responsible for overseeing GLU, and other senior staff discussed hiding their reactions, saying everyone needs to smile and we have to be upbeat and not show it. Oldknow also described Yvette Cooper and other Labour MPs' support for Corbyn after the election as grovelling and embarrassing. So their whole thing was for Labour to fail. Emily Oldknow, Ian McNicol. It says here, this is the report into anti-Semitism. They wanted Labour to fail, not to win. Do you want me to, let me read that again. On election night, on the 8th of June 2017, when the exit poll predicted a hung parliament, General Secretary Ian McNicol, Executive Director for Governance, Membership and Party Services Emily Oldknow, who was responsible for overseeing GLU, and other senior staff discussed hiding their reactions, saying everyone needs to smile. Yeah, we nearly did it, yeah. And we have to be upbeat and not show it. Oldknow also described Yvette Cooper and other Labour MPs' support for Corbyn after the election as grovelling and embarrassing. He's the leader. Clearly, he's not the leader. Clearly, there's a force bigger than the leader of the Labour Party in the Labour Party. And that force is right-wing. It's conservative. In January 2017, Ian McNicol, Emily Oldknow and other senior staff discussed preparing for a leadership election if Labour lost the Copeland and Stoke-on-Trent by-elections, and setting up a discreet working group to determine the rules and timetable. Ian McNicol discussed this with Tom Watson and told him to prepare for being interim leader. During the 2017 general election, the director of GLU, John Stolliday, then drew up these plans, including a rule change to replace the one-member, one-vote system with an electoral college system. The director of the unit, John Stolliday, described his work in GLU as political fixing and described overhauling selections of parliamentary candidates. You know, people have selected candidates and then they've come and gone, no, right, and overturning CLP AGM results. So everyone votes for stuff. Okay, we're all moving, and they come along and go, no, forget those votes. So this guy, John Stolliday's entire work here is to subvert any left-wing advances in the party, unless someone else is reading that differently. Anything that comes from the people, anything that comes from a general will of the people that comes up through the party, was being sabotaged by this guy, John Stolliday, to help the right of the party. Emily Oldknow and GLU staff discussed keeping Angela Eagle MP's CLP suspended at Eagle's request, in order to give her team more time to organise against left-wing members before the AGM. Staff also discussed organising NEC youth representative elections on a different election cycle to other NEC elections to ensure a left-wing candidate would not win, and noted that this was signed off by GLU's director. This is disgusting. It just gets worse and worse. Staff applied the same factional approach to disciplinary procedures. That's why nothing's going to get. That's why nothing. This is why anything to do with anti-Semitism wasn't going to be anti-Semitism. It was just going to be a blunt instrument to beat left-wing members of the party over the head with. Staff applied the same factional approach to disciplinary procedures. One staff member referred to Emily Oldknow expecting staff to fabricate a case against people she doesn't like. Oh, right, so Emily Oldknow expected staff to fabricate a case against people she didn't like, or her friends didn't like, because of their political views. So, like, I don't like you, look, dig some shit up on them. If you can't dig some shit up on it, make it up, which is what happens. When they're dealing with intelligent people, do you know how many times they try to, in my institutionally racist environment, they came at me 100 times trying to come at me with their own forms of intelligence. And when I beat them every single time, and they just basically, they were saying, they just made shit up. They made shit up and made everybody collude with the lie, so that they could they had all the paperwork set up already where everybody colluded on that, and my feet didn't touch the ground. All the way through a process that was already set up, that they'd been working on for months before they pulled the trigger. It seems like they're doing the same sort of thing here. During the 2015 leadership election, GLU and other Labour staff described their work as hunting out thousands of trots, and a trot hunt which included excluding people for having liked the Greens on Facebook. One prominent GLU staffer, head of the disputes, Catherine Buckingham, admitted that real work is piling up, while she and other staff were engaged in inappropriate factional work. Yeah, hunting down left-wing men, hunting down. This is why there's no. Labour's finished. Labour's disgusting. I think we get the idea now. There's a right-wing faction, and the same names seem to keep coming up over and over again. And they're the ones who are destroying any left-wing impetus in Labour. Let me do a dash left so you can see everything. Yeah, you can. Damn it. So, staff views on Labour MP in the 2015 leadership elections. Remember, the Labour staff here are all pretty much agents. They're all pretty much Conservative agents. Anyone who nominates Corbyn to widen the debate deserves to be taken out and shot. Joe Green, Labour, Head of Broadcasting, 15th of June 2015. Joe Green, yeah. Anyone who nominates Corbyn to widen the debate deserves to be taken out and shot. Senior Labour staff were clear in their opposition to Jeremy Corbyn, and also Andy Burnham in the 2015 Labour leadership election, as well as to many other Labour MPs not associated with the Blairite wing of the party. So all of this is the hangover from the Blairite rule of the Labour Party. This is all of these minions, all of this little. Imagine what it must have been like with Blair in at the time. Oh my God, it must have been disgusting. On the 15th of June 2015, John Stolliday, and we know what his job is, then a senior media monitoring officer, oh my gosh, who moved to GLU in late 2015 and became its director in 2016, discussed the leadership election with Joe Green. Both made clear their opposition to both Corbyn and Burnham. So what do they say? John Stolliday, 1158. I bet Ed would vote for Corbyn. Joe Green. Ed wants Andy to win, I'm told. John. Fucking hell. On the 20th of July 2015, Head of Political Strategy Greg Cook described a Labour MP as being such a trot, to which Head of Press and Broadcasting Joe Green responded, "Yep, like most of the PLP it seems." Green said to Jackson that Andy Burnham just panders to what members want. He'll be a total disaster. The PLP is a joke now, full of people unable and unwilling to be sensible. Do you mean toe the Israeli line, you mean? Greg Cook then commented that Kate Hoey is better than Corbyn, Abbott, Burnham, Nandy, Lewis, and about 150 others. Right, on the 13th of August 2015, Joe Greening, Head of International Affairs and Acting Director of Policy and Political Research, Simon Jackson, discussed Ed Miliband. Greening, he is pathetic and probably secretly loves Jeremy. Simon Jackson, probably. Greening, I mean, what the fuck? Simon Jackson, quite a legacy to leave the party with. It's just toxic. You've just got toxic slime. Jackson thought the party could hang in there, trying to stay sensible and wait for the storm to pass, or it could plunge into trot hell. with NEC pushing Trottism, staff appointments of Trots, on how Corbyn could appoint a shadow cabinet and who he would get in to work for him. Greening said, "Loads of mad Trots." On the 13th of August 2015, as it became clear that Jeremy Corbyn might win the Labour leadership election, Joe Green and Stolliday was moved to GLU, soon discussed delaying or cancelling the election by claiming insufficient resources to check new members or by all the other candidates pulling out. Stolliday considered this a great idea. So they were even trying to sabotage Jeremy. They've been on this since the Jeremy Corbyn leadership campaign. John Stolliday. Where do you think Ian and Mike are on delay? Joe Green. Finely balanced. In the end, I think they have to decide on the basis of whether we have resources to do the checks rather than a political decision. They're bent, but they're trying to play the rules by being bent. Rather than a political decision. Yeah, I mean, rather than be a cunt. Also, the leadership teams would need to sign off delay. Right? This is the delay on Jeremy Corbyn being made the leader. I am now of the view that 3 other candidates could just drop out next week and the whole thing would have to be halted. John Stolliday, which presumably would risk a huge argument. That would be ace. Joe Green. It would. John Stolliday. Great idea. Joe Green. Unite could disaffiliate, form a new party. John Stolliday. I've been assuming that will be a case anyway within a few years, whoever wins, frankly. It would be brilliant for Labour, financially tough, but absolutely great for the party. Joe Green. I think it will happen, yeah, John Stolliday. Byron must be fucking loving this. Joe Green. As I understand it, he wanted Andy to win. Not sure even his politics are Corbyn levels of madness, but then again, he'll be wondering what he can get out of it. Hateful twat. John Stolliday. The mad ones on the NEC all love him. Jenny Formby and Christine Shawcroft. Remember these names. On the 15th of September 2015, after his election victory, Jeremy Corbyn visited party headquarters to greet the staff. The day before, Stolliday, who was about to be appointed to take a key role in GLU, and Labour press officer Anna Wright discussed Corbyn's planned visit. Stolliday. We're all amazed that somebody has brought dozens of bottles of Prosecco. Mad, Anna Wright. It's ludicrous. I hope the fucking thing is short. Cannot be asked with this small talk. John Stolliday. I'm not drinking it. I'm not clapping. I'm not going to stay at my desk or leave the office. And right, we need to go up and show face for Team Watson or we'll end up on a list. Fucking hell. Anna Wright. Look at that fucker looking statesperson like. Looking after our security. Anyway, typo. Oh, they hated Jeremy Corbyn. The Labour staff hated Jeremy Corbyn on the 15th of September after the visit. Dan Hogan, then a political communications officer, but from 2016 to mid-2018 an investigations officer in the GLU, and Amy Fowler from fundraising discussed Corbyn's visit. Hogan said that a staff member who whooped Corbyn's speech should be shot. Fowler noted how all staff in the Labour HQ kind of hate Corbyn, and she wasn't sure how Corbyn could address that massive elephant in the room without making me hate this more. Wow. I mean, Corbyn wasn't hot. He should have got rid of all of... I don't know if it was possible. Amy Fowler, how do you think it went? How do you think it went when he was in earlier? Stevie P whooped, and now he's dead to Carol. Dan Hogan. People here were polite. Stevie P should be shot. Jess's speech was total crock of shit. I clapped, but I probably didn't do a very good job of masking what I thought. This is the thick of it. It's the thick of it. Amy Fowler. I clapped, but I didn't smile. And it takes a conscious effort for me not to smile in those situations. Dan Hogan. I couldn't look at him. My eyes rolled a lot. I probably shook my head. Amy Fowler. I feel like he should have maybe addressed the massive elephant in the room that we all kind of hate him, but I'm not sure how he could have done that without making me hate this more. Later that day, GLU staff member Catherine Buckingham commented, I had some drinks in the office until Jeremy came in, then all I wanted to do was go home. And that's just my part one. I just didn't like, because they just suspended Jeremy Corbyn, I thought, yeah, let me just... I didn't even prep this. I know I've made a couple of notes on it earlier, right? Where have I got to? I've just got to page 41, right? 42. Oh, boy, page 42, the guilt. The guilt. Let me finish it on this, because I've made quite a few notes. It looks like I've started doing it. Obviously, I'm going to have to plough my way through the rest of this report into anti-Semitism, this leaked Labour report into anti-Semitism, which Keir Starmer was more concerned about who leaked it than the actual report itself, which is pretty much a damning indictment of all of his minions and all of the people underneath Keir Starmer. These are all Keir Starmer's lackeys right here. Let's read a little bit of damning evidence before I get off on this one and edit this one up. It's just the end of my part one. On the 6th of October 2015, Acting Director of Policy and Political Research Simon Jackson said that Ian Duncan Smith was shit, but the mad thing is, he's better than most of our shadow cabinet. The shadow cabinet was then a broad unity shadow cabinet in which only 4 MPs were supporters of Corbyn. Only four were supporters of Corbyn. Senior staff commented negatively on Dawn Butler MP's appointment to the shadow cabinet, apparently suggesting that her accusations of racism within the Labour Party were untrue. Dawn Butler, I love you, Dawn. I love you, Dawn Butler. Dawn Butler, you were 100% right. In fact, my part 2, let me end it here, because my part 2 is going to be called Dawn Butler was right. My part 2 is going to be called Dawn Butler was right. Let me just end it like this. Emily Oldknow. Dawn Butler. Neil Fleming, acting head of press. Yep. People will go spare. Emily Oldknow. Good grief. Claire Francis Fuller. Did she not accuse the LP and its staff of being racist this week? Nice. Emily Oldknow. Harriet. White privilege Harmon. Dawn Butler was love you, Dawn. Dawn Butler was these guys are pieces of shit. How is if Emily? Oh, didn't I hear Emily? Emily Oldknow's still in the party. How can that? Is Neil Fleming in the party? How can that still happen? Right? Is Claire Francis Butler still in the party? How can that be a thing? We're gonna go over all the names. Why not? They're in the report. Let's kill part 1.